It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. And believe me folks, Christmas this year is coming harder than a wrecking ball because that Sonic 3 movie trailer, I mean, what is there to say at this point? It's absolutely insane that a movie like this is actually coming out. And so yes, we've been excited for this second movie trailer to come out for this movie. I think we've been going on for like a long time, like throughout this whole year, wondering if anything about this movie is going to come out. Like, where is the marketing? When is it going to start? And boy, has it started, because after Shadow Generations got its time in the spotlight, they really started pumping up the marketing for the Sonic movie 3. And I gotta say, it's all falling perfectly into place, and I'm loving everything we're seeing so far. And so what I want to take today's video to do is to kind of just acknowledge the journey that we've taken to get to this point, because it was long, it was hard, lots of winding worlds, some pitfalls, some dead ends, but now we've come together and are finally arriving at a destination that everyone, and I mean everyone, seems to be really happy about. And so, hello all, my name is RidersDX and welcome to my channel, where today, yes, we're just going to fangirl over the Sonic movie 3 because it is so good that I want to give Sega and Paramount the deed to my house. Well, not really, but figuratively, I would love to do something like that. But anyway, the Sonic movie 3. I've had quite a journey when it comes to the Sonic movie franchise because, you know, I'd always really wanted this franchise to succeed. I always really wanted it to be the greatest it can be. So even in those early days when we saw that first initial Sonic movie design, I wanted to remain hopeful because, you know, Sonic's first grand debut on the cinema screens in this kind of magnitude, it can't flop. It can't flop on itself. It can't be one of the world's biggest laughing stocks because Sonic has already had that moment in his career. He has already been the absolute laughing stock of the industry with various games in the past. We cannot have that same thing happen in the movie space too. So I just remember when that first initial movie design came out and all the first initial things were reviewed for that movie, I was trying my best to kind of look on the bright side and just kind of show like, hey, maybe this could actually be really good in a bunch of different ways. Thank goodness I did, because, you know, once the actual movie came out, I was overall satisfied with it, but I couldn't help but have a nagging thought in the back of my mind that something was missing here. I mean, yes, obviously they fixed all of the major issues that we had going into it, the movie design and such, but when you watch that first initial movie, I mean, Sonic the Hedgehog is the prominent character in that movie, but it didn't really necessarily feel like a Sonic movie, if you get what I mean. It felt more like a typical blockbuster fanfare sort of like hit in the movie cinemas, and it felt less like something that I would have expected from the same franchise that gave us things like Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. It just wasn't in the same vein, which is not really like a bad thing. You know, if they wanted to create something a little bit different, if they wanted to create something that was its own special take on the franchise, then by all means go for it. But the first movie in particular did also have this reek of generic-ishism. Is that even a word? It felt generic. It felt like it was trying to blend in with everything else that was being released in the cinemas at that time. Like, it felt like a Marvel light movie is what I like to call it. Like, it just didn't have that specific thing about Sonic that makes Sonic who he is. It didn't have those unique attributes. It didn't incorporate a bunch of that series lore. It didn't do what it could have to make it stand out amongst the pack as a Sonic movie. But it was successful and it greenlit a second movie. So what can I say? The first movie did its job. It did what it needed to do to get Sonic back on the map. And it's so interesting to see the Sonic movie franchise proceed hand in hand with the game franchise, because I almost feel like both the games and the movies had similar journeys to where they are now. Because with the Sonic movie 2, we saw that movie try to incorporate more of that Sonic lore, you know, bringing Tails and Knuckles into it, introducing the lore to Chaos Emeralds, making Eggman look more like Eggman. I mean, this was much more of a Sonic experience compared to the first movie in so many different ways, and was something as a Sonic fan I really enjoyed and really appreciated, because this felt like I was watching something that could have come out when I was a child, that would have really tickled my taste buds after playing games like Sonic Heroes and Shadow the Hedgehog. The Sonic movie 2 was exactly what I was looking for out of a Sonic movie. Sure, it wasn't perfect, you know, there were still some things that could have been done to make it better. I think some of the pacing in particular could have been improved, especially with how much time they took on the wedding scene in particular. here. But then again, when I introduced someone very special to me to that movie a few weeks ago, he found the wedding scene to be one of the most hilarious things about the movie. So I also understand the point of the wedding scene because it helps to like reel in casuals that aren't as into the Sonic lore as, you know, you and me probably are. And so it made me understand like why they made certain moves that they did, because all this build up, you know, making the side movies the way that they were, you know, making them accessible to general audiences while still trying to loop in that core audience of Sonic the Hedgehog, it's helped to build up to this moment, to the third Sonic movie, which feels like it's more of a Sonic movie than it has ever been before. This second trailer of the Sonic movie 3, I mean, it completely gagged me. It completely gagged me. I mean, from the references from the previous Sonic games, like giving Shadow a gun, for instance, snippets of the Eclipse cannon, you know, the scenes of Maria. I mean, as a Sonic fan, it is a total dream come true to see something like this come to the big screen. I always thought that the story of Sonic Adventure 2 would make such a great film experience. And not only are we getting remnants of Sonic Adventure 2 all over this movie, but we're also getting something new. We're getting something that is going to surprise even old fans like myself, because as much as there is in terms of like references to old things and series staples, there's also a lot of new ideas being introduced into this movie. I mean, mixing the lore of Shadow with the spunkiness of movie Sonic, it does feel like its own little project. It feels like its own little universe that we're diving into and learning about for the very first time. But obviously the biggest change from the Adventure 2 storyline that we're seeing over here is the fact that Eggman and Joe Robotnik are existing at the same time and working together in tandem. It's absolutely insane and a twist that I did not see coming. You know, when I saw that first initial trailer, I was completely, utterly gagged and surprised by that, because I'm like, what? Just like, what? Joe Robotnik in the original games was this figurehead, was this almost like legend of how he lost everything and tried to destroy the world because of all that. Joe has had a bit of a redemption arc after those games. You know, in Shadow the Hedgehog, he kind of was shown off as more of like a hero trying to get against the Black Arms. And in Shadow Generations, Jero was shown as more of a neutral / heroic character as well, trying to help Shadow like save the world. And so the Sonic movie 3 seems to be leaning more towards his insane part of his complex, which is great because I mean, that's Jim Carrey's bread and butter. That's exactly the kind of stuff you want to have Jim Carrey doing. And so it's telling a brand new story using elements of a story that we all know and love. And the Sonic movie 3 is avoiding that trap of trying to take too much from the games and paling in comparison. It's trying to tell its own unique take on the story instead, and it's giving us lots of new material that fits with the universe that we've established for Sonic and Co. in this movie series. And so I'm just like, wow. Even as like a longtime Sonic fan, I have so much to look forward to with this movie, because I'm not just gonna watch a retreading of my childhood. I'm watching something completely new and interesting. And I feel like the third movie, what it's successfully doing to me, at least from my standpoint, is it's successfully incorporating a perfect balance between old and new. It's incorporating enough series lore to loop in longtime Sonic fans, but it's also telling its own story, and it's also got its own casual moments to loop in more casual viewers. And it just really seems like the perfect conglomeration of everything this series has been working towards. And much like Shadow Generations was like a perfect conglomeration of everything that was old with everything that the series is becoming in the future, the Sonic movie 3 feels like the exact same thing. And it just, to me, it seems like it's going to be the perfect cap off for what has been an incredible comeback for Sonic and Co. It truly is. And I'm so curious to see how they're incorporating all these old ideas from Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog, and also telling their own story, telling their own unique take on this series. And I'm really excited to see what's coming on. I'm really excited to see how this all turns out, because it is turning out to be everything that I wanted this to be. And yeah, Christmas is coming for me. Christmas is coming hard for me. And I'm so proud of where the series has gone, because, you know, as much as I wanted to cheerlead and wanted to root for this movie series, I can't lie, you know, after the first movie in particular, I was like, I don't really know if this is something that is going to really like fulfill me as time goes on. But the Sonic movie 2, they really improved upon what they did in the first movie, and the third movie just seems to be going that direction even further. I mean, Keanu sounds great as Shadow. I love seeing the child reference in here. It's just everything about this is turning out to be exactly what I wanted and so much more. And I cannot wait to see it once it comes out. I'm seeing it as soon as it releases. So you best believe as soon as I see it, I'm going to give my immediate thoughts about it. So definitely subscribe if you want to stay tuned to kind of hear my initial thoughts when the movie first comes out. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What do y'all think about this trailer? Isn't it as amazing as I think it is? And yeah, we better be scared. We better be frightful because Christmas is coming and the Sonic movie 3 is going to be the biggest Christmas shock of all. I'm so psyched. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. This is Riders, riding out.